Also, while we're taking care of the logistics here real quick, I just wanted to say it's been it was definitely been a blast having you hold it down for SoCal Guilty Gear. There's a lot of the shit. I'm going through in one of the things I'm writing up is just kind of like a brief like chronology of the last couple of years of Rev2, and none of this. I think like we built some really good momentum up here, you know, with Wednesday night fights and stuff. But having the SoCal crew come through and like, you know, just keep the volley going, right, was really, really helpful for us. Like, it was always really good to see that y'all would get Rev2 going. And I think for a while we had like interleaved weeks or something. So like we could watch ours, and then we could have our tournament, and then we could watch your tournament. And then when we all got on net play, doing the fucking United Wednesday night fights was hype as shit. I'm super glad to have us in there now for Rev Tuesday, and having Felice Hueves still operating. Shout outs to Light for that. It's been super sick to see like NorCal and SoCal kind of working together to keep this shit alive, you know? So thank you.
Yeah, no problem, man. Like, that was the whole, like, for us in SoCal, like, we've already been through this game dying like twice offline. So we didn't want that shit to happen again.
Yep.
And like, we figured like, all right, we already put the time in to like make it all work offline to like a good acceptable state. So that naturally will just transfer over to online. We will do that however long we'll do that. No, I don't think any of us thought it would take as long as it is, but you know, it is what it is.
I mean, we got some good momentum.
All the way till like till Strive came out. I think Guilty Gear, I think Strive itself wouldn't be in the state it's at Wednesday Night Fights. It wasn't for me and Ruben.
Yeah.
So like, I'm pretty happy about that, and just knowing that like we like really made a difference going forward in that.
Hell yeah. And it's been cool to see other folks pick up where y'all left off, because I know Ruben's got shit to do, right? Like he's been focusing on his work and his career stuff, so it's dope to see Light and other folks pick stuff up. Obviously still seeing you in the mix is nice. Anyway, we're here to talk Venom, so let's talk Venom. Normally we kick this off by talking, like, whoever the guest is, they give us 3 things that they want to aim at other Venom players. So whatever it is that you think people should be doing more of this character, things that you think are cool, new player advice, whatever you want, really.
Yeah. So first thing for me is, so I watched Take's video just to know like having, you know, sort of overlap. So it's mostly different.
Yeah.
The main thing for Venom players is like defensive stuff. I originally had these two. There's like 2 separate points, but I decided to put them together, so it kind of be like a 2-part thing for this first one. And it's that like 2S is good, but don't use it all the time, because it's very easily to counter poke. It's not very long. You got a lot of recovery. Of course, we're exampling it, so it's never going to happen right now. But but in general, like, it's really good. But you rely on it so much, and better players will know the answers to it. Like, one time after I played Bears online like a few years ago, he asked me like, "Hey, you know 2S isn't a reversal, right?" And that puts things into perspective for you as a player. Like, you know what? It's not a reversal. You're right.
It's 2D that's the reversal. Get it together.
So when you hear something like that, you're like, you know what? Let me do other things with this character besides just mashing this. Really good, but still like people have answers to it.
Yep.
So like 2S is good enough, but you got like, when you're in pressure, you got 2K, which is really fast short poke that people can like, so do some pressure. And like when you come up like that, you can just really poke them out. Like 2S might not hit there because it is slightly slower and it goes a little bit longer, so you might be able to poke out like that. His backdash is obviously really good in your corner or something to get out of pressure. Obviously 6P is a really strong button in this game, especially just because like the startup of it obviously is fast, but also recovers really fast too. So you can like just really mash this out sometimes, a few like 2 back to back, and like you can catch them doing stuff.
Yeah. So
like the overall like message in this part of it is like, yes, 2S is good, but you do have other buttons. And I'm not even like getting to like close slash, which is like good situationally. When
I always get so mad when you anti-air me with close slash.
Yeah, Wizard's chip is pretty good.
Yeah.
Because you can just like, once you learn to react to teleport, it's like you just kill him. And I learned a really fucked up teleport punish too, though. I kept trying to do it to you last time we played a tournament, but I kept messing it up. I happened to watch a Salto video, and it's like he does close slash, he links QV and does a common from, like, oh, that's fucked up.
Oh yeah, that is fucked up. God damn. So I'm curious when Venom is you mentioned 2K, you mentioned 2S, 6P, you got all these different defensive options, including backdash. Like when let's say Chip's next to you, for example, like this, is there a goal that comes to mind or something? Because a lot of times I'll see new players be like, oh, if I'm defending, my goal is to press the right button so I can get the hit and get a combo, right? And
That's a problem right there.
yeah,
Is that too many people want to focus on making the bad situation, and not bad, that's not right, but like putting a situation that they're not winning into a situation they are winning.
yeah,
And that just doesn't happen very often in this kind of game.
mm-hmm.
You have to settle for making the situation you're not winning in into one where you could create an RPS where you can have a chance to win.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where a lot of people, like I was going to bring that up later actually, but that's a situation where like just a general, it's not even like a Venom thing, it's like a player thing.
Yep.
Sometimes people are just not content with like you pressing buttons and me just going like that, and like now you have to like think about your next move.
Mm-hmm.
They want you to go from pressing buttons to me going like sick nasty combo into full confirm. Like that just is not the reality 95% of the time.
Yeah. If you can get it, it's great. But if you can't get it, well, maybe just a backdash is fine. That makes sense.
Yeah. More so, like the main goal for me in like let's say the Chip matchup is like wait for there to be a gap and like knowing what the good response is to like kind of stop you from what you're doing.
Gotcha.
So like there'll be like a poke out, like a backdash, like things I was talking about earlier.
Mm-hmm.
And like that's kind of like universal with different matchups too. What that answer is for each character obviously is different, but that's something you should be looking for more towards. Unless like in a situation there is an explicit answer that will work.
Right.
Like versus you, for example, like you'll teleport and I know, okay, close slash, I'm gonna delete your life bar because of that.
Yeah, I've got to say when teleport punishes aside, even just if we get to a situation where both of us are stopped, right? Like I run in, I press some buttons, maybe you like 2S me off and then we're back to like go ahead, just hit me with 2S.
Yeah.
Once we're here, I'm like, fuck, man.
Yeah.
Like
because you're not in it anymore.
Yeah. I can't force anything out of you. I have no momentum, right? Like if I want to close the gap, it takes me time to get started, you know? Even if I want to teleport, like not only is it pretty obvious, it takes up startup time, it's pretty easy for you to react to, right? And if I backdash, then maybe I can get some momentum going or use the rest of the screen, but it also exactly gives you time to do shit. Yeah, just small things.
A lot of times like go ahead.
It's just small things like that, right? Like you said, it's not even it's you didn't get yourself to a situation where you got a big win on deck, but for you just being there is a pretty solid win, especially against Chip.
Yeah, like creating the RPS where there was previously not one, and we were just losing is a win in a lot of cases versus a lot of characters.
All right, well, don't let me mess up your order. What else do you want to talk about?
Well, that's fine. So that was the first thing.
Yep.
Second thing is like just you don't always have to do the hyper optimal shit as Venom. Like you can do. Let's see if I can get the first one. Nah, I fucked it up. So that's like a detrimental thing that I haven't tried in a long time. But like you can do like real hyper optimal shit to get like the like I fucked it up, but like something like that where you get 3 balls into this and then that.
Yep.
And it's like that stuff's good, obviously. But if you're in a position where like you just say you get to hit like a little farther like out, and you still try to go for like something else to like compensate for it, you're just gonna give yourself worse time. That's like what I do a lot, and like you guys have noticed, I'll just like go. I'll do this a lot. Wake up, just go for the meaty, because something is better than nothing. And it's like I'm trying to do just that. At least I get pressure, and Venom is pretty fucking good at pressure. So if nothing else, it's not like you're getting mix-ups, but you're still keeping yourself in.
Yeah. I mean, in general, I'd say playing against you is like this. It just feels like there's this overwhelming sense of pressure, right? Where it's like you, in any given situation, if there is an advantage to be had, it feels like you take it. And I don't know what more optimal combos or set play looks like for Venom, but I can say that feeling like I would not underestimate the mental effect of just feeling like the Venom always has something on the screen or is always making you block, even if it's not always some tricky mix or shit.
Yeah, the thing, exactly that. It's like keeping yours as the Venom player, keeping your situation fluid and not getting like stuck in some sort of like, oh, I gotta get this down, and then that's when you start hesitating. That's when you fuck up because you have to keep your pressure smooth. You have to keep it going. and that's like the whole appeal of his purchase sequences and his mix-ups, is that they kind of like all go into each other. But if you as soon as like stunted at some point, then you give yourself a chance to like get opened up. And like when you go at the higher level Venoms, you'll see like a lot don't do that. But like for like lower level Venoms, you'll like watch like the top level Venoms, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you'll see them doing all this cool shit, and you try to do it, but then like you don't have like the flow down yet of like getting to that point where you just like freestyle it to get to like where you need to be.
Yeah, it sounds like you kind of got to earn your way into that, like the better mix and the better set play, right? And some of that is practicing it, but some of it is also like, I don't know, like when I watch your Venom play, it feels like you said, it's fluid, right? I don't see I don't see many situations where it feels like you didn't know what was going to happen next.
Yeah, and like a lot of that is just like knowing where like gaining like the situational awareness, and like a lot of that's just like through playing a lot. It's not like there's not much like a shortcut there.
Yep.
But like once you gain that awareness, you realize what you can do and what you can't do, and like you tend to go for like the more correct choice in like a given space than you would otherwise.
God, I cannot stress that enough. Like one thing that people, not just Venom players, just in general, this game has so many different chances for a player to do something, right?
Yeah.
Even stuff like, because like I'm sure you know, like, there are points where you drop a combo and you're like, because I dropped the combo, you can tech out of this. I already know which direction people normally tech out of this. And then if you're a little bit better, then you late tech this way and blah, 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 right? There's so much stuff that just the only way to pick it up is by playing a lot, right? Like you can't really lab that stuff.
Yeah, so that's why it's like, don't try to overload your mental stack if your stack isn't there yet. You know?
Yeah.
Sometimes simpler is better. Just do what you know works, and once you get that shit down, then you can start doing the more like advanced shit.
Cool.
So that's our second point there.
Yeah.
And that kind of what you were talking about just now kind of goes into my third point, is that something I think I'm particularly good at as a Venom player as opposed to others is covering vertical space with walls.
Like I'm so annoyed by your, especially the carcass raids, right?
Yeah. Like I'll do this a lot. People will run into it.
Yeah.
And like it's less apparent against Chip because you just kind of get in. But like there's times I just do this like 4 or 5 times in a row.
Yeah.
And just mess with the people's timing, because like at this point I'm probably gonna do this instead, right? Just go like that. But then like at some point you learn that and like, oh, it didn't go for that, and I can start creating space like that. So Venom has a lot of like strong ways to like cover. Especially like where you're at in the screen right now, like the top left area, you can cover that area a lot. You can do the carcass, that into set. If you have a ball that you can not hit it, you go like that.
Yep.
There's a lot of ways for you to cover that upper space that I think a lot of people don't really take advantage of, because you're so naturally inclined to like set a ball and like go this way and kind of follow up with something like that.
Yep. And I feel like the fucked up thing that people might not realize is like when you put that ball out there, right? Like go ahead and just do whatever aim it at the upper left. Right? Like the time it took me, because Venom's projectiles are like 2-part moves, right?
Yeah.
The time that it takes me to hop over, you're still plus, right? Even if I didn't block it. Because I have to jump over this thing, and jumping takes fucking forever, uses an air action, like commits me to a certain direction, right? Like I'm coming down here. This is why Venom 6P is so good. It's not just because the button is good. It's because you can force me into predictable anti-air situations from all the way fucking out there. This character's cheap as fuck. Anyway.
Yeah, that's something I'd like to see more Venom players take advantage of, because he's just really good at doing that. And like as you were saying, once like you can react to it no problem, but then like you're in like in a worse position.
Yeah. Even there, really there I jumped over, and then I backdashed, right? And I backdashed, and I was able to avoid everything. But you were still plus, right? Like you would have landed before me. You would have been ready to do shit before I could do shit. Like the ball didn't hit, but it did everything it needed to do.
Yeah, the turn is still in my favor. It's not explicitly my turn, but it's leaning towards me getting the turn. And you can really put yourself in positions to like be able to like make that happen for yourself.
Yeah, I think one thing that I think takes players a while. This is actually why I compare Guilty Gear to Smash a lot, is because in Smash the advantage is obvious, right? If I'm in the air, if I'm super high, or if I'm closer to the edge, then I'm at a disadvantage in terms of screen positioning, right? Yeah. Because I am more at risk of getting knocked off the screen. you like if I'm in the air, then you know that I have to come back to a certain area, right? Same thing if I'm on the edge, right? And I think people don't realize that that's true in Guilty Gear as well. It's just instead of stuff like getting knocked off the screen, what it is it's frame advantage, right? Even if like, see, I get my air actions back when I block those things, but the fact that Hursh can chase me down, right, and meet me in my landing point with a button that's probably gonna beat my shit, like. This is why we have to do stuff like fucking air blitz against Venoms. Is because he's so good at just being where you're gonna land and putting some shit that you can't fuck with.
Yeah, so that's something that I'd like to see more Venoms really get like adjusted to. Because like you'll see them like kind of like natively doing that here and there, but it's not something like that's really a focus of a lot of people.
Yep.
You can definitely cover that pretty well. And then just like one more like small tidbit. Like you don't always have to hit the ball. All right,
yeah.
you can not hit the ball in situations and it'll be okay. And not even just like neutral situations. Like let's say I have like come towards me. Let's say I have the ball right here, right?
Yeah.
Start doing pressure. Like even here, you don't have to hit this ball.
Yeah.
Because if I try to hit it, I'm probably gonna counter hit.
Yep.
And it's not gonna work out for me pretty well. But if that ball's just sitting there, they're thinking about the ball being there the whole time, right?
Yeah.
Like I've had instances where like this ball's been out and I've like just sat on it because like there's no way I'm gonna let this ball rock, right? There's no way I'm just gonna let it fucking disappear. And then you're thinking about that, then I can get out.
Yeah.
Of course, you know, Venom Brain will not allow you to do that sometimes. Sometimes you do have to.
I know the what little Venom I've played. I'm like, oh, I got a ball out, gotta go hit it. I'm like,
you just have to hit it.
Yeah. I don't even know, because I don't know how Venom normals, like, what the angles are for each ball, so I don't know where this thing is going. It's, like, nowhere fucking near the opponent at all, right? But it's like the Milia pin, right? If it's there, oh, I gotta go get it. If the ball's out, oh, I gotta go hit it. Doesn't matter what else is going on.
I'm gonna hit the ball, it's gonna do something sick, and then I'm gonna win. And, like, that's all I really have to think about sometimes.
My head doesn't even go that far. I'm just like, oh, I'm gonna hit the ball now, because it's there.
Yeah. That's the point, right? Just summon ball, hit ball.
Yep.
See ball, hit ball. Easy. But yeah, getting that sort of restraint on yourself goes a long way, I think. Especially the better you get at the game, like because like you'll know, like I was saying, people are gonna know you're gonna try to go for that ball, and they'll like do specific things to like get you to do that. But like those specific things that they're trying to bait you to do is like less good as far as like pressure and stuff will go in those situations.
Yeah.
So that in itself will give you an out.
Yep. And like you were saying, it's the even if you know this ball is not in a good place, so I'm just not going to worry about it. The opponent is going to be thinking about it, and that's a win, right?
Yeah.
You just gave them another variable that you don't have to track, but they do. It's fucked up.
Yeah, you know, thinking about like these points I'm making right now, as for four Venom players.
Yeah.
Is like a lot of it is like transferring your neutral stack and like giving it to the opponent and making them worry about it.
That it's like some Tetris shit, right? It's like, oh, you set up all this, okay, bam, 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 okay, now it's on your plate. You deal with it.
You send them the garbage and like you think about this shit now.
Yep.
And you give yourself the time to like set up other things. It's actually a very good comparison.
Fuck. All right. Well, we out here playing Ninja Gaiden versus Tetris. I like it. Cool. Well, if that's the advice for Venom players, what the hell do we do about this fucked up piece of shit?
So one thing that people don't really have a lock on still versus Venom all these years is like what your character's round start options are. Because a lot of times if you let me do this, like that's at 99 seconds I have an advantage in the round.
Yeah.
Because you don't want Venom to be just something ball like that. Chip is a good example of a character who has a lot of options against Venom because like what 5K works.
Yeah.
Yeah, 5K works. 2S will work.
2S is dicey. I think 2S on round start, it's like, I don't know. Maybe on the first frame it would work or something. But I feel like I go for this a lot and it usually loses.
Actually, can we restart again?
Yeah.
Does that hit? Oh shit. Does that hit Carcass? I forget. Wow, I can't get Carcass anymore. All right, restart. 3, 2. Okay, on countdown. 3, 2, 1, go. Oh, so maybe it doesn't, but
yeah.
But yeah, and like you can do like standing teleport now, like make me my button whiff. You can do like and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So like characters have options that, well, most characters have options that they can do. Like something like Zago, for example, like he kind of just has to hold 2S. But even in that situation, like you can just backdash and like not give the Venom player like the opportunity to do that.
Right.
And if I know you're doing backdash a lot, maybe I'll do like, I'm like, there we go. Like Carcass Ray more, I might try to chase it down, do something, but then like I'm taking like an additional risk where I previously didn't have to.
Right.
Or like in a case of like, who else would I use? Like Sin, for example. He can 5k over 2S. And then from there, all the next interactions are in his favor. If he just, I think if he does, like, if he matches his 2S, it'll be my next 2S, it'll be my 6P, like stuff like that. But a lot of people don't have that shit out. And it's really important to not give the Venom the advantage at round start, because you don't want to go 9 seconds and deal with this and they're like, whatever, right?
Yeah, I guess one question I have for you is like, so I guess as a comparison, I like to think of discarding the slow shuriken as roughly worth about 25 meter. And the reason is because fast shuriken covers a lot of space and I can move behind it, right? Yeah. So fast shuriken I can essentially use as like the rough equivalent of like a YRC teleport or a YRC gamma blade, right? Because I'm like, the thing I want to minimize as Chip is my risk in neutral, right? I don't want to get counter hit in neutral. That's the big thing. Yeah. How do I avoid that? Well, I can either just spend 25 meter to win it, right? Like that. Or if I get rid of a slow shuriken, I can just like super jump, fast shuriken, jump in, probably fine, right? It's not as good as Gamma YRC, but it's pretty good, right? Especially because if I use it, I can get it for free. And people who play against me don't think of shuriken as valuable as I do, because it's just an annoying move, right? It doesn't feel like you're getting hit like by anything big, right? It doesn't do shit for damage, right? So with Venom, how would you describe like the value of having, like, if you get that round start 2S into ball summon?
Yeah. Well, this is like, I can do a lot of things with this now. Like, even if I want to back up in zone, I can just set another ball and now I have 2 balls out, right? Or let's say, like, out of this ball, I can immediately hit it, try to get some pressure going right away. I can just leave it and do nothing. Now I have a teleport point that I can do something with. There's a lot of utility in having the ball out.
Yeah.
And, like, that's by design, obviously. Like, he's supposed to be able to have that. So, if you give him that utility to have, you instantly put yourself in a disadvantage where you don't necessarily need to be in disadvantage.
You know what it's kind of like? It's kind of like us having a Sonic Boom on deck, except you don't have to hold back on this.
Yeah, kind of. If you want to think about it like that, yeah.
Like, have you played like Ryu versus Guile at all in like ST or anything?
I play DJ, so pretty much.
Okay, yeah. Like, basically that matchup is really different based on where you're standing and whether Guile has charge or not. And if he has charge and you know he has charge, you're just like, well, I guess it's your turn, right? Even if he's on the other side of the screen, doesn't matter, because you know that he'll be able to get his projectile out and do something else before you can do something.
Yeah, it's like if you're Ryu and I'm Guile, right? I have this out like on deck.
Yeah. Like,
what are you gonna do? Like, you have to approach at some point, right?
Yeah.
And then like I'm at advantage like that.
Yeah. And all you need me to do is block, and then you get to play your game, right? Actually, even if I jump over, if it's a fucked up jump or whatever, then yeah. All right. Cool.
Yeah. Then I'm getting whatever I'm going.
Okay. So tip number 1 is learn your round starts, which makes absolute sense to me because, like you pointed out, your win condition here is not get a big counter hit or whatever. It's really just get a ball out.
Yeah, get a ball out, get going. And like I've learned like my round starts, for example, like versus Chip, because like, you know, he has a lot of good ways of doing stuff. I've learned that 5H will stop a lot of that. And then that gives you something to think about, to like, oh, maybe I shouldn't do that. And then that gives me more of an advantage than I previously had.
Yeah.
So it's not like Venom is like this end-all be-all round start. He has to deal with stuff with, like, you put in the work, you lap situations out, you can see that you have options besides like what you may have thought before.
Yeah. And when you play against someone, you can tell when they don't know the round starts, right?
Yeah.
Because you'll be rotating through your options and you're like, oh, whatever you're doing is not in conversation with whatever I'm doing. So cool. I can be greedy or whatever.
Yeah, like whenever I play a Johnny who doesn't know the coin round start, I'm like, oh, sick, I can just do whatever I want.
Nice.
And I can just go in.
Cool.
So that's the first one. Let me see. Next one versus Venom. Don't let Venom continue turns that aren't his. So in Take's video, he talked about this with like specifically like far slash ball sets and like block strings in the QV and how like those aren't as like solid as they seem. You can challenge them.
Mm-hmm.
But another big aspect is like so just block.
Yeah.
It's like carcass rate pressure, like how you can escape that. Because a lot of people just think this is like endless. Oh, he can just keep going, whatever he wants to do, and he just keeps in there. But that's not true, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
In this kind of situation, you can FDM out, and then like once you're like about here as Venom,
Yeah.
things stop becoming a true block string, and that's when you as the opponent can start jumping out.
Gotcha.
And people really undervalue the ability to just jump. You don't necessarily have to like go this way and go out. You can just jump straight up.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm over here thinking about, oh, whoa, what's he going to do? Is he trying to get out? Is he trying to go back down? And again, as well as alluding to earlier, you've created an RPS in a situation where you're previously just losing straight up.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a win for you in this situation. Too many times people try to, again, just to reiterate, too many times people just try to like, say, like, okay, how can I turn this into me getting a hit on him? And you're just not going to do that.
Like, oh, maybe I can DP or something. It's not worth it.
DP, like, you know, like DP, like if I'm here, you're just gonna whiff. I'm gonna get a fat combo.
Yeah.
And like as Badur was saying in the chat, you can mash at certain distance too, versus carcass. And now like if you hit it early enough and the thing, the carcass will not come out.
Mm-hmm.
Especially the H1, you can just hit him out this straight up if you can react to it. And like that'll happen. And everything Venom does leaves him in counter state. So even if you don't get a specific like combo or knockdown off that, the turn is ended, and you're probably going to be at least somewhat of an advantage.
Yeah.
So you can definitely mash out on the stuff once, like, it's not as, like, airtight, because, you know, you're over here. Oh, sorry. Oh, you lock. If you're over here, keeping it tight, then, yeah, that's hard to mash on. But if I'm, like... Oh, I fucked up. Like, sometimes you can mash out, sometimes you can't. But, and that's, like, the more space is created, the more... How should I put this? Like, more area you get for yourself to work with, right?
Yeah. So should I be thinking like when you come in on me like that? Should I be thinking try and FD the early pressure to push you out faster? Like how much does FD fuck with your pressure strings here?
So like just FD. So look at that. That's standard close slash 2H carcass. I'm already over here.
Yeah. Where normally when you do it, you'd be like you get like 2 of those loops basically, right?
Yeah. So where I am now is if you don't FD, then like I think like a full backdash back is where I was if you do FD.
Yeah.
That's like a world of difference as far as space goes. And if I know you're FDing everything, then I have to I have to start doing like dish outs to that meter.
Sure.
Or I'll do like real extra and try to go for 5H carcass. But even that put me far away. So once you start creating a space like that, you can give yourself a chance to like fuck with my momentum.
Mm-hmm.
Cause so that team is just jump out and just jump straight up.
Okay.
Like now I have to think about you in the air.
Yeah.
I can't just autopilot pressure anymore. Now think about, oh, is he gonna stay in? You can just come down. Is he gonna go forward? Is he gonna come down the button or something? Yeah. I gotta take that into account.
Obviously, Chip can wall clang.
Yeah, Chip can do a lot.
All kinds of other things. Yeah, and like I guess it's worth pointing out here that like if I'm go ahead and give me the corner again. Like against Venom pressure, if I go ahead, I'll FD. If I'm here, like against other characters, I might be thinking, oh, maybe I can teleport out, or maybe I can ID out, or maybe I can Alpha Blade out. But against Venom, like his pressure, his buttons, his projectile presence is so scary that I usually just have like I can't do the dumbass shit that I do against everyone else, right?
Yeah, you can't really autopilot your escapes like that because like he is really good at keeping up pressure.
Yeah.
But you have to force the Venom to mix it up.
Yeah.
Because if I'm doing whatever into carcass rate over and over again, then that's free for me. I can just keep doing that.
Mm-hmm.
But if you start like blocked.
Okay, hold on. There we go.
So if I'm doing like this,
and
I have to start spending meter, and I have to start doing like more risky stuff that doesn't necessarily work all that well.
Mm-hmm.
But in that same sense, I'm still pushing myself out more and more. I gotta spend meter to keep myself in, and eventually it's just gonna become not worth it for me to keep doing that if I'm not getting
right.
If you're not like falling for anything, right?
If I see you doing carcass raid, that is essentially that's a call out on me blocking too much, right? Like carcass raid is kind of extending the pressure a little bit. I'm saying compared to Stinger, like it looks to me like Stinger is I think you're gonna mash, or I think I want to keep this pressure a little bit tighter.
Yeah, Stinger, you'll see more of like I'm just trying to, if I'm like far enough like around this distance, I'm trying to keep pressure on.
Okay.
I'll do like Stinger Wire C to keep in. Or if I know like you're looking for specific things, I will like me at least me personally, I'll mix in Stinger more as just like as a means to like switch up my block stream.
Okay.
So it's not like as predictable what I'm doing.
Gotcha. Okay.
So like in that sense, like I'm varying up what I'm doing in order to like keep you guessing. But also I'm technically doing worse things than the basic thing.
Right. Okay. We got Bondrin saying Stinger can be used to catch jump outs, but it's going to be a lot less plus, if even plus, compared to Kargas. And Bador saying any Kargas outside of close S range is basically jumpable. Okay, cool.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
It's like what close S is like.
So
About like right here.
Right there, yeah. So if you go...
Like about right there. Maybe a little more than that. Just sand block. Oh, sorry. Yeah, about like
it looks like it's
here.
around here.
So like about like right here.
Yeah.
About right here is where you can like think about doing stuff, pretty much.
Right. Okay.
Here for sure you have options, but like once I start getting more around this area when I'm doing things, you can think about maybe mashing something, maybe like trying to backdash. Because if I'm doing like, that was the wrong one. Like that double Karkas, you can jump out of that too. So like around here is where if I'm trying to keep pressure from this distance, you can start thinking about escape or potentially even like maybe if you know the situation really well, you could maybe try and mash something depending on your character.
Okay. And I'm curious, when you're running like this kind of pressure against people, how often do you see people like making decisions because they know these things versus just kind of flailing and it works out or it doesn't?
I mean, you can always tell who's flailing and who's not, right?
Yeah.
And like sometimes like, you know, this is a plus R example because I just recently played the match with it. But like I was playing Sasol, right? And he was doing SDP a lot. And in that game, it's like a lot weirder to punish because like the distance it goes up is kind of like shorter. So like I know this fool is just mashing SDP, but like even if I specifically call it out, like the block stun is weird and the hit stun is where you can do the follow up, and that kind of makes everything weird. And it makes it harder for me, even though I know he's not like really thinking like, oh, I'm an SDP and whatnot. But so that'd be an example of someone just flailing and having having a harder time with it.
Yeah.
But then like on the flip side, like in one of the videos I put out, we're gonna watch in a minute. With Fu, for example, he IBs everything, right?
Yep.
So I have to do different strings to try to mess up his IBing.
Gotcha. Okay.
And that serves its entire purpose of like me being able to keep pressure and not like die, for example.
Yeah.
So it's really like it goes both ways. Usually in this game, it's like the flailing is like, unless you as the Venom player are giving yourself a lot of gaps, you're not really gonna be catching that too much. But it depends on the character.
Okay. All right. What else? How else do we? What else do we need to know to deal with this character?
Last thing that I have for dealing with Venom is dealing with Dark Angel Loki.
Tight.
This shit's fucked up, right? So in a lot of instances, just go in the corner, yeah.
Yeah.
So in a lot of instances, like I'll just do this. You're gonna see the surge block. And like that'll be something basic, right?
Yeah.
Like combo plus chip damage is like 25-30%, right? And it'll build like 30% risk or something. If you were to FD all of that, it'll take about like 65% of your meter.
Fuck.
So that's a lot to deal with that in one setup.
Yep.
So you're like to deal with it, you're not the thing to do against Dark Angel is if you have like enough life for it, is to IB like the first half of the hits and then FD the rest. So
sick.
So gonna knock down?
Yeah.
So just like you can block at first, just IB.
Oh.
Yeah, you gotta do it earlier. Oops, that's my bad. Like start RBing as soon as you start blocking. And at that point, like you can do it even earlier than that. And at that point, you start building meter. Like if you start IBing just like those first like half of the hits of the Dark Angel, you'll get like 30% meter or something.
Okay, and then you can just spend that on the FD for the last.
And then you spend that on the FD. So the best way to deal with that, because like the chip on top of the mix-up is like a lot. So the mix-up you kind of just have to like ballpark where it's going to happen. You know, it's a mix-up. But as far as the chip part goes, you can mitigate a lot by just doing that, by not FDing, I being the first half of it, and then FDing the rest. So that way you won't, as opposed to taking like 20% of chip damage, you'll take like maybe 10% of chip damage. Instead of losing like 65% of your bar, you lose like 30% of your bar.
Damn.
And then through that, you live longer.
That's the strat for America's favorite game show. You choose your life and your meter.
You don't. The choice, the illusion of choice is not an illusion. You can have both.
And what is so Dark Angel like? Just so I'm sure, like I being that after Super Flash, like we got time for that a little bit, right? It's
yeah, like it starts moving a little bit. So like when I was like practicing this earlier, just to like get like refresh my memory.
Yeah.
And like I was doing a lot where I was like I being too early and I was getting hit.
Yeah.
So really like if you want to be like real safe about it, as soon as like your character gets up, just like the moment you start blocking, just start mashing black and getting the IBs. So if you want to try that right now.
Oh no! Fuck.
Yeah, like that happened a lot. Yeah, that happened to me a ton today, and now like I play the fucking character. So, god damn it.
Oh, you're out of meter. Okay.
Oh, that was right. Okay. So just block that first and.
Oh fuck.
Yeah.
One more try. Let me get one more try.
One more try. Yeah, and then like you get all that right. Actually, you know what? Restart one more time.
Yeah.
And just start wire sync. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, burn on your meter. Okay.
All right, yeah, I beat it.
Oh, I know what. I think it was because you were in like meter penalty.
Yeah. So even with that meter penalty, I still managed to get like 15%, which is pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so like even that, it's it's like you get something instead of nothing, right?
Yeah. No, that's huge.
Yeah. So that's like the main thing. There's also like the mid-screen Dark Angels. So reset. So like I was having problems like getting the spacing right because it's supposed to be like roughly around like here-ish you get it, but like I was checking it here. So if I go like that into like Dark Angel, if you IB the first few hits, you can jump out. Like you saw that there was like a gap there, right? I know Chip's a little fatter on the ground, so it might be harder for him specifically, but that's like the strat. Because if I'm like right here and I do it, you just kind of have to hold it, right? Actually, I think you can throw me from like that close. But like from like right, it's like here. You IB the first few hits and you should be able to like jump out.
Ah, I see. Because it takes a little while to get started, right?
Yeah.
If I hold on, let me try FDing real quick. I want to see if I can get.
Sure. So right here.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I see. Yeah. So the way it works is the IB lets me recover quick enough that before the ball starts moving, there's that little bit of a gap where it'll push me out and then I can jump. That's interesting. Cool.
Yeah, then you can like super jump out and get out of there. And not have to deal with it.
Gotcha.
But like you can like as a Venom player, you can compensate for that. Because like if you just like after the Dark Angel set, if you just go like far slash, and that keeps you on block stone. So you can't get out in that sense.
Yeah. But then you don't get as much mix, right?
Yeah, I don't got like the level 5 balls coming at you,
right,
one after another. And well, you can also, I guess, if I have the ball out, like you put the Dark Angel, you can do like that. Peppery started doing that, and it functions the same way. So at least you get like something off that. But even still, that's better than the situation you were in before. So you're still in a bad spot, but you're in a better spot. And that's like really the deal with like dealing with Dark Angels. Like it's a bad spot in this game for sure because like you get all the chip damage in the mix, but you make that a little bit better for yourself, and making that just a little bit better goes a long way.
Yeah. No, that's huge because normally when I'm looking at my life for my meter, it is, do I want to give up 20% of my life or 65% of my meter? And neither one feels great, right? Like, I'll usually try and keep the meter if I can, just because, Chip's life is more like 3 strikes and you're out, unless like every percent matters, And it's really like it's meter that I need to like run the board basically to get that momentum against Venom. But sometimes I can't, and then I'm just like, shit, now I have very little life and very little meter, and I'm in the corner, and this fucking sucks.
Yeah, and like showing it right now with our life bars are like almost full.
Yeah.
It's less impactful, but when you're at that last like 30% and you lose 50% of it,
Yeah.
that really like changes a lot of what you can do in a match. So learning to like mitigate that way like really helps out the longer
Yeah.
the round goes. Obviously, if you're gonna die from it, you gotta just use all your meter from it. But if you're able to mitigate it, you should mitigate it.
I'm curious because when I look at Dark Angel, I'm like, this is the most fucked up shit. If I were a Venom player, I'd be trying to do this all the time, right? Is it like what are the situations where you don't want to go for Dark Angel?
When you don't need to go for Dark Angel, honestly. So let's see, what's a combo I can do? So like this set, right? You'll see a lot. And like let's just assume a Dark Angel's on you, right? I'll do this into like the mix up right there, right? But if I don't need to do that, then like why spend the meter to get that same mix up? Or like another one that's been more people have been using is this 3-ball set. I was trying. Was it this one? Yeah, where you'll do that with the stinger and you'll wire see it. Shouldn't you see it? Okay, sorry about that.
Yeah.
So what was it again? It's this. No, this. So you go like that into like a mix up. Normally those other balls will be closer, but like you do a mix up into like whatever to hit the ball and you get multiple mix ups. Like I can do that very easily into a Dark Angel set, but if you don't need to do that, I only spend 25 bar instead of 50 bar for that.
Gotcha. I see.
So it's like, if you specifically want to drain their meter, or like you put yourself in the combo where like you would kind of have to do it, then that's when you would more so want to do it. But if you're in a situation where you don't have to, then you save yourself the meter by not doing it.
Okay. Yeah, I guess on my end, I'm always like, why wouldn't you drain their meter, right? Like, because it's such an advantageous trade, and like, since you spent the meter on a super, you get to keep your tension pulse, and since they had to spend it on FD or whatever, like they don't. But yeah, I guess there's sometimes where you just can get the raw damage, you don't give a fuck, huh?
Yeah, because like a lot of this stuff is like blitz safe on its own already.
I see.
And like even if you want to try to dead angle it, by the time you do it, you've already eaten like a full one of these.
Mostly, yeah.
Probably. And like I'm on you right here, so you dead angle that, whatever. Like I got what I needed from it. That.
All right. Well, cool. I lost track. Was that it for anti-venom tips, or was that okay? Then
do you have any specific questions you want to know about?
Let's see. I guess this is what a lot of the Rev2 review like play against tips comes to mind, but basically in order to make useful decisions against Venom, especially in defense, like how much do you think the opponent needs to know about Venom strings, right? Like when you were pointing out that this range is about where like Carcass gets kind of greedy, and at this range this is where I'm using Stinger to keep you on the ground, and blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
Like I know that you think about this a lot because you're playing Venom. And so you go into any string and you're like, I know what my options are off here. I do these options for these reasons. I do these options for these reasons, right? And it reminded me of when we had Brett on the show, and Brett is like, he clearly has so much like historical RPS logged in his head, because you have to do that if you're playing Biken, right? Like, you have to remember in any given interaction where you could Izami, did you Izami? If I didn't Izami this time, does it mean I Izami next time? And a lot of his tips came from the assumption that the opponent was also similarly keeping track, right?
Yeah.
Which is understandable, right? Because that, as the Biken player, that's how you see the gaps in your play. But as someone playing against Biken, like if I have to get just as good as a Biken player at playing RPS, that's a lot of counterplay, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm wondering, like, against Venom, how much do I need to know about Venom's strings and paths and stuff in order to make reasonable decisions?
That's a good question.
Like, I guess the easy way to frame this is like when you're losing to players who are like reliably beating you, for example, right?
Yeah.
Is it how much do they differ from like me or Zwei or whoever in terms of their knowledge of Venom defense? right?
Well, and like in that specific instance, that's like more like an adaptability thing than like a Venom thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I know what you mean. Like really, it depends like how well you understand the basic flow of Venom
Mm-hmm.
and what your character can do against that very basic flow of like me summon a ball and me hit the ball and how you can work around it.
Mm-hmm.
That's the base of all of it, and that's where a lot of people end up struggling as Venom because like you lose out. You can play like reasonably well, just like playing your character, right? But as soon as you lose that momentum, and I'm just like doing stuff, all of a sudden you feel like you just can't do anything and you can't get in.
Yeah.
So understanding where you can get in and like what your character's options are against that kind of stuff is like the base of it all.
Okay.
That's like that's like the whole crux of it, really.
Gotcha.
And then like from there, like the pressure sequences and stuff is like we were saying, like that, like cargo rate stuff. That's like the next step.
Okay.
Because at that point, I'm interacting with you.
Got it. Okay.
And it's not like I'm just winning neutral for free anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, definitely the ball zoning stuff is where I would say that starts coming into play.
Gotcha. Okay. Cool. That was really helpful. Thank you. I know like this game is intimidating. Even after thousands of hours, there's still times where you're like, man, do I really need to learn everything about this other character just so I can block like 20% better than I normally do? And sometimes the answer is yes, but sometimes the answer is no. You don't need to know the whole character. You just need to know this 5% that you wouldn't know unless you learned enough of the character, right? Like, which is why it's so helpful to have people on this show so they can tell us. Because, like, I don't want to pay attention to every single Biken thing. I don't know the name of all of Biken's follow-ups, you know?
Same.
Right, exactly. But all I need to know is the things I need to know. And it's just that until you know all the things, then it's not easy to figure out which things you needed to know and which ones you didn't. So thank you, Hursh, for helping save the world just a little bit of redundant Venom study. Though I do think more people like this will be me soapboxing real quick for everyone who's watching the stream or the VOD or whatever. There is, in my opinion, two things that everyone can do when you're in a matchup that you have problems with. The first is learn how to play the character you're losing to, because in understanding how to use their tools, you will gain it'll make it easier for you to read what the opponent is doing. The second is ask whoever's bodying your ass what the fuck you're doing wrong, which is why I'm so glad we had you on the show today, Hursh, because you fucking beat my ass last week, and now I get to find out what I did wrong. That's awesome. So, down to do some VOD review real quick?
Yeah.
Sick. All right.
Well, how does this work?
So I'm going to pull up I'm going to open up a new lobby so that people, if they want to get started playing, they can. You could hop into that lobby as well just to make sure you get a spot. But then I'm going to start a watch together room. It's this service that lets you share YouTube videos and like remote control them. So I'll send you a link on Discord in just a sec. The lobby ID is PTRC. I'm putting that in chat as well. Stands for Pat the Roman Cancel. We'll get that in case anyone wants to get going. Hursh, you can get in here real quick just so we can get you that spot. There we go. And now I'm going to open up some YouTube videos, so just give me 1 second. Also,
I'll just a push-up.
Yeah, there you go. Also, a perpetual shout outs to Gutter Daughter for helping organize the Rev2 review. She's been the one who's been... I hit her up early on, and I was like, so in order for this to work, I need to not have to know anything that's going on, because I've got too much other shit in my life to be able to micromanage stuff like a guest list. So she's been running everything behind the scenes to make sure we got what we need, and today is another awesome show, thanks in no small part to Gutter Daughter. That's what's up.
Yeah, she like walked me through everything, how it's gonna go down. And I was like way in advance. It was good. She's like, "Hey, I can find clips for you if you want." I'm like, hell yeah, find clips for me.
Hell yeah. All right. So this first one is Rev Tuesday. Is last week's. Cool. We got 1:18:39.
I think they're all from last week.
Yeah, nice. You had a fucking good run, man.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. 1 second. Okay. Shush. Mute this.
And the recording's found.
Hush. There we go. So 1:18-ish. Let's see. 1:18:39. Okay. Well, we'll start 1:18:14, and here is the link to the watch together. I have the VOD audio muted so we don't have to hear the commentary. And wrong window. So what we're going to start on is basically once you click on that link and you're in this room, you should be able to use the play controls to do whatever you want.
Okay.
I will say I think like skipping back and forth is kind of rough. I don't remember what keys this uses, but start with pause and play, I guess, and work from there.
Oh shit. Okay.
Hold up. Let's see.
Did it start like halfway through the food one for you too?
Let's see. Yeah. So I think we wanted 1:18. We'll go with 1:18:35. There we go. This is the first one. So take it from here.
Okay. So this is what. Oh, this is versus bread.
Yeah.
Right. So. Oh, hold on. Let's mute mine too. I thought if you muted on yours, it would be for me. Okay.
Alas.
All right. So this matchup is like a weird one, in that like you kind of have to like play a real uncomfortable way as Venom.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of get the thing going. So just like right away, like when you get hit by like the up slash like that, that's a good burst point because of that meter. Because like he opted for a burst save route right there, but I could have lost 50% easily.
Yep.
That's a good thing to do. And they really try to like she's very slippery in this matchup. I know generally her movement isn't that good.
Mm-hmm.
But in this matchup, she has like a lot of different ways to get around like ball zoning. So it becomes like a real like RPS and like not in your favor kind of way. So like she's going here, she does like that 2S would have like caught me trying to do something. It would have gone under like a stinger or a far slash something, and she would have gone a fat counter for that.
And does Azami basically nullify balls?
Yeah, no, because the way it interacts with balls is like weird. So like I'll show you as it goes along.
Okay,
so I got 2D right here, and I do the stinger, right? So I do this a lot against Vikings, and because really, if you do like the stingers, if she tries to do the follow up, like, and you're just already recovered as I am over there, she's gonna do whatever follow up, and she's gonna be vulnerable to attack. So that's like a level like a layer 1 kind of thing versus Viking in this matchup as Venom, where it's like, if you make them feel uncomfortable with doing a zombies and the zombies follow-ups, you already opened yourself up to like being able to do a lot more in the matchup. So like in this case, a lot of times they'll try to do like the Roku side, the slash, or like the Sakura or something, just to like close the gap because they're going to assume you're doing something or like you're recovering. But once they do that, then like they're just stuck in recovery. You can start doing something.
Gotcha.
So me and Brad play a lot, so he knows that. So in this, he doesn't like follow up with anything because he knows I'm looking for it.
Got it. Okay,
that's something effectively you can do. Even there, yeah, like you have to RC that to make it safe.
Yep.
The Arizami, like I haven't dealt with that too much besides like past like last few times I played Brad, but it's really weird in that like Mastro goes really well against. Like he's doing those zombies specifically like bait something. But in those areas, I can do match stroke because like the hits are so fast and you have to like really predict how many times it's gonna hit.
Yeah.
If she tries to do the follow up, you're gonna get tagged by it.
Gotcha. Okay.
Or she's gonna get tagged by it. Rather.
Yeah. Yeah. Chips
so
J2K is kind of similar.
Yeah, it's the same where it's like the bike player has to like know when to like do stuff.
Yeah.
And like a lot that's why I mean like a lot of like weird interactions with the zombie. I don't know if it comes up in this round or not, but like the basic like Venom 2 ball pressure, like the S and P ball, the two like horizontal balls that you do.
Yeah.
That will like she saw me as the first one. The second one, if she tries to do a follow up right away, the second one will hit her out of it. So like that also is another like interaction where it's like she has to choose where if she wants to like try to zombie the full thing and try to get you to bait you to do something, or just try to zombie the one thing. So a lot of like weird interactions in this matchup with your zombie. But also in that you can't just do normal Venom shit and have it work out because that the normal stuff will get blown up, no problem.
Gotcha.
All right, so let's see. There we go. I caught with the Stinger YRC, Old Faithful. Next one, I just dropped it. Oh, got me. Yeah, it's like that last. Oh, that was bad burst. But like that match was the same kind of thing where it's like I'm kind of trying to come down and catching a zombie. And if you try to do like the thing too early, then that's a reward for me. Let's see. Oki Blitz is really good against
Nice.
ID Tatami. Then in this specific instance, because it's online, I didn't actually realize I wasn't like 100% sure if I would get it.
Mm-hmm.
Like a good thing you can do if you get the blitz, and especially at that distance thing where she was at, you blitz and you can like just escape because especially you're in the corner. You don't want me in the corner against Vikings. She's really strong in the corner, so you can like take the opportunity to like the RPS I was talking about earlier versus Venom. You can do the same kind of thing here. That's not like a Venom versus Venom only kind of thing where like you create space for yourself and you're able to do stuff.
Right.
I created space against Biking here, and now she has to think about where I'm going to be going. I can go straight up. I can go out. I can stay put. And Blitz against ID Tommy really helps out against that, especially like if she ends up doing a more closer, not Azami, Tommy. They all sound the same.
And you went to Blitz 2K 2D there, right?
Yeah, let me back it up a little bit.
Yeah.
So that was a missed air throw.
Yeah. So this is
Burst like
burst
day
up,
one burst
in the corner. You go, boom.
Yeah.
I see.
So in that instance, I did do 2K. Maybe I thought she was gonna be closer.
Yeah.
I would have hit better.
Yeah.
Because I just went straight into 2K 2D. I would have knocked down if she was closer. So that's my bad for not seeing the distance she was at.
Yeah, but if you knew, I guess I can imagine a slightly more attentive Hursh that notes that 2D doesn't work, and so you still go for the 2K, but then you like ID out or something like that, or double jump out, whatever.
Yeah, just the 2K to stop.
Yeah,
and then from there, the onus is on her to make something happen, not on me.
Right.
You guys have mentioned a lot of like when I play people, I'll just sit there for a while, right?
Yeah.
Because I know it's not on me to do something; it's on you to do something.
Bondren saying the 2D would have reached a plus R. Fuck out of here, man.
I can honestly spinning right now. But yeah, like so in that instance, I might not even like do anything because like she has to commit to something, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like she's like pretty like high commit kind of character.
Yeah.
It's like she tries like 2H or something, like she's stuck on that forever. She tries to chain the ground chain. That takes a sizable time. She has to like readjust for that. So like even tries to do another Tatami. That takes a lot of space on a lot of time on its own. So she would have to commit to something, and I wouldn't necessarily have to like do something.
Right.
So you create that better situation for yourself, like I was saying earlier, for like people to do. All right, let's see what else. Twist
get that space, and then you just run out.
Get out of there. That's me covered, as I was saying earlier. That's me covering the vertical space because people like to jump at certain angles. So I'm full screen. Get that. Hit that up. Yeah. Hit another one up. Third one up. And that last one, Carter doing something. Oh, I did do it here. Nice. Okay.
Yeah. I love the ball placement here too because you get to cover the space right in front of you, and as well as like the air a little bit further out.
Yeah. You have a lot of free range to cover space when you're at that kind of distance with Venom, which is that's like the main thing I was trying to allude to earlier.
Mm-hmm.
So this carcass hits 2K2 and I do the SP Oki. So in this case, like he knows not to Azami here because like it's not a good situation for him. So he just blocks. But now like I can actually do pressure like as normally you would do. And that in its own is valuable. I think I duck out right here. Or I try to catch him doing something else. But in that sense, yeah, I didn't want to run into the gold burst there.
Yep.
But like in that sense, it's like the more you're able to make a bike and block, the more uncomfortable you make them.
Yeah.
On defense, because their prerogative is not block.
Yep.
So if you're able to do that, Brett, as we were saying, he got like hella good real fast, right? Mm-hmm. So he's already got that mentality where he knows like not to like panic and shit. But even in that sense, it's like like your options are more limited than what you would be able to be doing. So you would be able to make them block and do something that'll be advantageous to you. So if you're able to do that versus the biking, you have to like take advantage of those spots where you can do them at. So if I'm in that situation more, I get a 2D knockdown, I really should be going for SP ball. It's more as immediate, just so I can get something going that's in my favor.
Right.
All right. Let's see. Back up a little more. Figure out what happened. Oops, there we go. So he gets me going. Gold burst. I don't know what. I must have missed something up. That was miss air throw. Zombie caught me. Scared for my life right now. Double chain. Oh, no combo. Yeah, delaying
Oh,
the.
nice.
Yeah, that up slash, the up chain is so fucking good, dude.
Yeah.
It's like obnoxiously good how that you can just like do it and like do the follow ups on whiff too.
I don't know if you're watching. Brett and Daymendo were running some late night sets the other day,
Yeah, it's
and
not bad of that.
there was a moment where Peter was just like, "Up chain hits like all of Slayer's stuff," and I'm like, "That's the closest I've ever gotten to hearing him complain about a matchup before." This is
Yeah, it's crazy how like effective that
yeah.
thing is. And if it catches you, it's like either you're
You're
gonna hit normal hit and
fucked.
get sucked in, or you're gonna counter it and lose like 60% of your life.
Yeah.
And if it whips, that's okay too. She'll just do something else.
Yeah. It's a hell of a character.
So yeah, another thing that's good in this matchup in that specific situation too is like being able to delay when you come on the way down.
Yeah.
Normally against Biker, you're not really all that afraid of like her being on the ground and you being in the air, but because that up train is so goddamn good, you really want to like try not to get caught up by it. Whoa. Well, let's see if I get a little closer to like where it would be at. I'll give it one more try. So like, no, I missed it. Well, you saw it anyway.
Yeah, that was really close.
Yeah.
Okay.
So being able to make her think, yeah, on defense is good.
Yeah. And then double head morbid to finish. Nice.
Yeah. That's the basic
Sweet
thought process that round.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah.
All right.
You know when the next one's at?
I think let me find it real quick. So it's 149.54. So
149.
I can let's see. I'll scrub do it real quick.
I think I got it.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, it was round 3.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, this round is like a lot of like things happening quickly, so I'll probably pause up a lot.
Yeah, no problem.
So there's that. There's me learning my round start options.
Yep.
Carcass doesn't work there. It works in plus R, so I think that's where I mix it up. But like even if it doesn't, even if I don't get a combo off of like you got counter for like 10% of your life just on that one hit.
Yeah, I get counter hit for that, and you caught me mashing 2S afterwards, which is not going to hit whatever it is you got coming up next.
Yeah. So again, learn your round starts. Doesn't matter what character you play. If you're having trouble with it, learn it.
Yeah, and to be clear, that was like the layer 3 round start, right? Because I was doing 5K to beat the 2S, which I hoped was coming, and you did the 5H specifically because it beats 5K, right?
Yeah. All right, so let's see where else this goes. Knockdown.
Get opened up. I have to burst.
Burst.
Oh my god.
Missed my throw.
Get hit from the fucking close S. Okay, no.
I'm so sad. I missed that combo like 3 times this round. I shouldn't have gone. Yeah, I missed it there again.
Okay. At that point, I was like, "Fuck it, I'll take the air throw. Get me out of here." Yeah.
So that's the one good example of like keeping your mental stack in check.
Yeah.
As is Venom, because like you're over here. Oh, let's wait for it to catch up. So I fucked up, right? But like you're over there now, right? You're trying to get in, and if I commit something here in that range against Chip, I don't really gain anything like really all that well.
Yeah.
So the onus is on you to make something happen, not on me.
Yep.
And so you try to make something happen, and like me, I'm just pointing at you, waiting for it, and then you make a mistake, and I'm able to get a full punish.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and what's going on in my head is like, man, I just got hit like 8 times. I need to make something happen. There's nothing on screen. If I land, like, just because because we had so many interactions, I was like, okay, maybe we're gonna keep this going. Maybe the Alpha Blade's gonna work.
Yeah.
And it didn't, and now I'm fucked.
Yeah.
It's a dead round.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's a really good round, like just keeping yourself in check.
Yeah.
And not like try to like overexert on stuff.
Yeah, but that's a great contrast between like how because when I play against Bonjour, our rounds are usually a lot swingier because he's not as tight with getting all the small wins, right? Like we could go and watch that round again. I don't think any of your combos did more than like 20%, right?
Yeah,
you hit me like 8 or 9 different times, and each time did a little bit, but you just kind of kept it up with like the pretty, I'd say, low risk, low reward. You kept on getting those wins over and over and over, and it adds up, right? Like the frustration in my head adds up. That's why I did the tech alpha, because I was like, I need something to happen here, right? I need some release from this annoying, just getting counter hit all the fucking time.
Yeah, like, even though you weren't like that far down,
Yeah.
at that point, like this is the point where you're alpha, right? You're only like half life, but like
it
I made you
like I was down a lot more.
Yeah, when you make the other person feel uncomfortable in those situations where like you feel like you have to make them do something.
Yeah.
Like you've transferred your mental stack onto them, and like they're like trying to really make something happen, even though really looking at the situation, like neither of us had really had meter. You only had like half life lost.
Yeah.
You still felt the need to like do something and to like make a big play.
Yep. Yeah, dude, especially, I mean, for you said it earlier, right? For Biken, the thing that annoys Biken players is having to block. For Chip, it's not being able to move, like constantly feeling like you're running into a wall everywhere on screen. You play Chip because you like moving. If a character doesn't let you do that, it feels real bad. All right.
Yeah, Venom's good at like stunning Chip pretty well with like all just little pokes.
Yeah.
They don't amount to nothing, but you're not going forward anymore, and you've like suddenly rethink your approach, because like as Chip, when you're playing, you have to like already assume you're in their face before you even get there to like keep the flow going. That's just how Chip operates. All
right, move on. You want to move on to the next one? I think it's you and Fu, right? All right, that's I'll pull it up. It's 213.
213. Okay, let me see it.
There we go. Here's the end of.
Oh, I fucked it up.
Yeah, you can just I'll drag it forward just a little bit. There we go. Here we go. Perfect.
Okay. Cool.
All
right. So this is a matchup where I know like some like Sato 310 the Venom player, I think this is really bad for Venom. I've always thought it's pretty even. It's because like there's a lot of ways that like you can check each other.
Mm-hmm.
So like the only thing that tips it that would tip in Coom's favor is like the damage output, and the risk reward is still good for him.
Yeah.
But there's really like a lot of little things you can do with this matchup to make it pretty back and forth.
Okay.
And me and Fu played like a ton too, so
it's nice to see Fu back in the mix.
Yeah. And I also play Coom too, so like I know like how the character works as well.
Damn, it's just balls with you, man. Just nothing but balls.
Yeah, so let's see. This was, I wasn't paying attention.
All good.
Yeah. So round start. Normally, because I know he knows this, Coom would do like what are the kicks called? The Shinken kicks, like round start and just destroy you for doing 2S. But if I do this, I did Carcass there, and he may have known I was gonna do that, so he tried to do something else, like the Hayabusa.
Mm-hmm.
So he knew that like if I just do 2S, I'll autopilot, I just die for it. So in that instance, like as I was talking about earlier, knowing your round start options could tip things in your favor a lot versus Venom. Because at that point, I took a less riskier option with the Carcass Ray, but like, what do I really get off of that in that trade situation? He's still in my face, he's still getting the hit.
Yep. Yeah, that's pretty good for a round start. Jesus.
Yeah. So against the balls, Venom can Q5 it.
Mm-hmm.
And like he knows that, right? So he'll purposely not hit me with the ball sometimes just to check if I'm gonna do it, so that he can ID over me and hit me and counter hit me for it. Because I don't know if I mentioned, I'm not sure I mentioned earlier, but like basically everything Venom does leaves them in counter state.
Yeah, you mentioned that.
Which is why you can't like willy-nilly do things as Venom, because like you're just gonna get murked for it. So he's checking for that to see if I'm gonna do it, but like I know this is like a more deep layer thing between like two players, but like I know he's gonna do that, so I just kind of like chill out and wait for him like do something else. And me being in the air, where Coom's he's air buttons are fine, but like he's not gonna get big damage if he tries to hit you up there. So that's my play here. And then gets the hop kick, gets the throw. Okay, I think I got hit trying to do blitz. First down, okay. Ooh. And that looked really risky, but like I knew I was gonna hit him.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like full confident just going straight for it. But the full extension, no. So
did you miss the ball there, or was that intentional?
Yeah, because you can blitz that. It's like cable.
Okay, yeah.
So I know. So then that in itself becomes like own kind of mix up where you can't really do that with K ball because either you hit it or you don't. It's you can tell that. But with the H ball, excuse me. with the H ball. If you hit it right away, you can blitz it. But if I don't hit it right away, I can go for a high, low on its own.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're assuming I hit the ball, then you're probably already maybe either blitzing or prepared to block. So in that sense, you can do like a low like I did right there because he was probably expecting me to like either air dash high or maybe just miss a blitz or something. But I got the hit. So that in itself is a little mind game. With Oki, see if he doesn't know. I should pay attention. He just FDs. So that was a what? How much meter did he have? Let's see. So he has about like 85% meter, and that goes down to like 50. Yeah. So in that situation of his life, it might have been worth it to IB most of that Dark Angel, and then or like half that Dark Angel, and then FD the rest. And he will have like a little bit more life and a bit more meter. Coom's pretty like beefy, so doesn't really necessarily need that, but still, it's always like good to have.
Yeah.
And then let me go back so I saw something happen. So the Dark Angel. Fun times are being had. Mix up is blocked. So that ball gets created. One important thing that you as a Venom player will learn over time is recognizing when those balls are there. And like being able to like know how you want to convert off them. So on that one right there, I think like the best course in my mind was like, all right, I'm just gonna hit it with the JD so I can do a little bit of bouncing. And if he does try to like tech back in after the burst, it'll at least dissuade him from doing that. And pretty much that's he wasn't gonna ID, but it helps cover that space. Okay, caught him with something. SPH go in.
All those IBs.
Yeah, and that's me doing a different string than I would normally do to make him a bit more guessing.
Oh, the air to air. Nice. Oh, put yourself in the corner. Yep.
Oh, shout outs to Delay, keeping me alive in this round. Giving me the opportunity. Oh, yeah, in this matchup, Coombs 5D will nullify projectiles, right? It's really only useful in this specific matchup. So it's really annoying to deal with. Not because it's like overly strong or anything, but just because like they can do it.
Right.
So
I looked like you recovered pretty quick after catching the projectile.
Yeah, so it's like not even like you're doing it for like that long.
Yeah.
So it's just something to keep in mind in the matchup because it's not a big thing, but it's annoying.
Yeah. All right, I misses the clap. Or gets
Let's
the
see what happens here.
Boom.
So that's now I'm just trying to get out of the corner when I do that. A lot of times what I would like to do is like I'll just get out of the corner if I can because like being in the corner is not where you want to be in this game. And if I can make it safe for myself, I'll do that. But if not, I'll just jump out, air dash out, and I'm out. That's something I think a lot of people should try to focus on because a lot of them like you feel caged in the corner, but it's like you're also not really trying to escape.
Right.
So you can't like put that on yourself and expect something good to happen. So I got a random hit here. Let's see. Now I'm just trying to zone out. Use the 2H ball to try to cover that space. He got hit by both. It's me trying to, again, mess up his block string and mess up the hit right here.
Oh, okay.
And mad struggle. The tried and true.
Yeah.
You know what's funny about mad struggle? Is that a lot of, like, once you reach, like, a certain point of playing Venom, like, your skill level gets to a certain point, you kind of just do it just to, like, this will probably work right here. There's not like a whole thought process that goes into it most of the time.
It is by far Venom's dumbest tool, I feel like, and it stands in stark contrast to everything else he's got in there. Because his kit generally is, I mean, he's got a lot of powerful stuff. Don't get me wrong, but you usually have to have an idea of how to use it. And then Mad Struggle is just like, I'm tired of thinking. Let me just chill for a little bit. I'll be back in 2 seconds. Let's see if this works.
Sometimes I do H-Mad Struggle, I'm like, this will probably work.
Yeah. All right.
And that's as far as I know anything about it. So yeah, I think that's everything, right?
Yeah. So thank you for coming through and sharing this knowledge. This stuff is super awesome. I will be stoked to clip this thing onto YouTube and get it to everyone else who's trying to learn how to play as or against this character. And Venom's cool as hell in plus R and